Talk with Bob Mars.
Good morning, Sterile Processing Universe, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Bob Mars from Beyond Clean. I'm very excited to be here with you today, and before I get started, I just want to send a huge shout out and thank you again to the healthcare professionals that are out there amidst this pandemic fighting dirty every day and fighting it under what I would consider not the best conditions. We thank you for your compassion, your professionalism, your drive, your love of your job. We thank you for what you're doing and pray that you stay safe. And I hope you know there are a lot of folks thinking about you and as you fight dirty every day. So thank you. As I get started today with this episode of Real Talk, I want to talk real and I just want to share some raw feelings with you. I'm going to talk about the healthcare professionals who are out there fighting dirty and who are doing it under some really poor conditions. And I want to ask some questions and I want to pressure folks because this has got to get fixed. I want to talk about PPE. I know there are a lot of variables that kind of led up to this, I'll call it a perfect storm that we're dealing with right now. We have a pandemic which requires the use of many PPEs on a daily basis. We are also dealing with a challenge of sterilization. I read an article yesterday about ethylene oxide and the companies who perform ethylene oxide on millions of medical devices every year that have been shut down just prior to this pandemic. So companies who could and would have been sterilizing these PPEs couldn't do it because their ethylene oxide units were shut down amidst concerns of environmental exposure from people who live around those companies. And that's a huge shame that that happened. Let me just say a little bit about ethylene oxide. It has been here for a very long time. It is a very effective sterilant if you use it properly. If you have the tools to monitor it, both individually and area monitoring in your unit or hospital or manufacturing plant, wherever you may be. Okay, now that aside. So I talked about this perfect storm that we have going on right now where these plants were shut down who could have and would have been sterilizing these PPEs but cannot. And so we then had a pandemic, we had people using PPE, and now as a result, we have healthcare professionals with no PPE that are reusing PPE or wearing PPE all day long. And I don't know about you, but this makes me angry. And quite frankly, I'm embarrassed. We're even talking about this today. How did we get to this place? How are we forcing our healthcare professionals into the situation where they're already dealing with a dangerous virus, but now they're doing it without the equipment that they need? I don't understand it. Who's going to be held responsible after all of this is said and done? And what are we going to do to ensure that it never happens again? Another thing that has really sickened me about this whole issue is that we have healthcare professionals who are standing up and saying enough. I am not going to expose myself because of your lack of preparation. And what's happening to them? They're being let go. They're being placed on administrative leave. There's a physician in the Seattle area that was fired because they spoke up about not having PPE. Again, how did we get here? And what are we going to do to fix it? I hope that you will have an amazing day. I hope that you stay safe and stay well. And please continue fighting dirty.
Asculap, a global leader in rigid sterile containers, surgical instruments, and surgical asset management consulting, understands the daily challenges a sterile processing department faces to meet demanding OR schedules. Backed by more than a century of industry experience and equipped with specialized tools and methodology, the Asculap team is dedicated to helping hospitals optimize their perioperative performance, enabling them to operate with greater precision.
Through our strategic partnerships, Beyond Clean is now providing seasoned interim OR and sterile processing management and experienced frontline sterile processing technician staffing. Whether you need to fill a gap from an unexpected retirement or get your department through a season of increased surgical volume, our interim staff are certified with a minimum of 2 years experience and can join your team in as little as 1 to 2 weeks. For more information on how Beyond Clean can provide these much-needed resources in your department's time of need, contact info@beyondclean.net.